Have you ever wondered how companies calculate things? How do they do their numbers? How do they know if they have profits or losses? How do they know if they are earning money? How can they know the price of a product? How can they say this pen is going to be in the market for 20 euros? Have you ever used the expression, this is more valuable than that, or this thing has no value at all? If you answer yes to any of these questions, I have good news for you, because in this lesson, we're going to learn how do companies determine prices for a product, how do they know if they have profits, and how to calculate the cost of a product or a service. If the answer was no to all these questions, I have bad news because this is part of the exam and you will have to learn it anyways. So hopefully you're already thinking about money because we're going to talk about euros during all this lesson. And just in case, I'm placing a picture so you start focusing your mind about money, euros. As economists, we understand value as the ability of an asset to satisfy human needs. And value creation is what makes sense of economic activity. Smallenbach, who was a very important economist, states that there are three different values. Used value, and this is the value that a thing has because it satisfies a need. For example, today I need to go somewhere. So my car has value because it helps me with my need. My car takes me to that place I need to go. Then we have swap value. Swap value is when you swap one thing by another. And this is the origin of the economic activity. I give you a cow and I get a pig in return. But this situation was a little bit confusing and it generated a lot of discussions since it's not so clear how many pigs you need to swap them by a cow. So it was a little bit difficult and a little bit tricky to organize all this. And then we have the third value, which is income value. It's the value that a thing has because you can get incomes through transformation. So you transform that thing, and when you sell it already transformed, you get income, so you get money for it. After all this, you're likely to be thinking about euros and money. But things sometimes have a sentimental value instead of economic value. When something has sentimental value, it's usually more difficult or sometimes impossible to replace. And sentimental value is often bigger, much bigger than economic one. Because of that, because it's impossible to replace. How do we evaluate things then? What are the main factors that we need to take into account if we want to evaluate something? Basically, two. How appropriate it is to satisfy our needs and how scarce it is. The capacity to satisfy needs, it's a little bit relative. I mean, it depends on the moment, it depends on the place, and it depends on your taste, on the consumer taste. For example, we go out with our friends for a drink, we're likely to give less value to a glass of water than to any other drink. A beer, any alcoholic drink of your choice, a soda, Coca-Cola, whatever. However, if we're really thirsty, we know water is going to be much more effective than any other liquid. So we will give priority to drink water than any other thing. So in this last case, water will be more appropriate to satisfy our needs. There's also the second factor, which is how limited, how scarce this good is it. Imagine you're in the middle of the desert and your life depends on it. What will you choose? The glass of water or gold or a jewel? You will probably choose the glass of water. So even though in another situation you will never choose the water, right now your life depends on it. And in the middle of the desert, water is very limited. So it's much more valuable than any other thing. That's why you will choose water over any other thing. During the next video, I'm going to explain you what do companies understand by value, how do they measure it in terms of the productive process. And hopefully this is going to help you going through the lesson and understand better things.